Coffee Time with Dave on WHUR.
Good morning and welcome back to Coffee Time with Dave. Hope you're doing well. We have a great episode for you today. I took the recorder and recorded a lot of stuff around the dinner table on Thanksgiving. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving, because I did, and it was a lot of fun. So let's play a little song. Stefano, hit it. This is the last episode for November, and it's been a great month, and it's been a great fall season. We're getting into December, and we're going to have a lot of holiday-themed episodes. It's going to be a lot of fun. And my Aunt Marilyn visited the other day, and I got to record something with her. So here we go. Welcome back to Coffee Time with Dave. I'm here with my Aunt Marilyn. How are you doing?
I'm hanging in, David. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I just wanted to ask you what you're thankful for this year.
Oh, boy. Well, I'm extremely psyched and grateful that a number of women were elected to the House of Representatives, including 2 Muslim women and the first Native American woman to be elected to that body. So I'm psyched.
Woo!
And a lot of black women, too, or some, anyway.
That's very cool. Do you have a Thanksgiving memory that you'd like to share with us?
Well, back in the day, I used to volunteer at the Harvard Square Church's meal program. and we would have lots and lots of people come for a meal and share a meal with them. And this is kind of nightmarish. After the dinner, we had to finish taking the meat off the carcasses, and there was a lot of grease and a lot of fat and a lot of bones. Wow. And it really wasn't my thing, but yeah, that was a memory.
That's a memory. All right, thank you for being on the show.
Oh, you bet.
Now let's move on to the dinner table recordings.
Sponsored by Sonic Boom and Creative Music Studios. Links in the description.
Check out the description, yeah. Check out the description, woo! Check out the description, yeah. Check out the description, woo!
Welcome back to Coffee Time with Dave. I'm here at the Thanksgiving table, and here's Alan Hurlburt. How are you doing, Dad?
I'm doing okay. Happy Thanksgiving. The only thing that's not okay is my voice. I've been a little under the weather, but I'm thankful to be here and be able to celebrate Thanksgiving.
Yeah. So what are you thankful for this year, Dad?
I am thankful for all my family and friends, and without them in life, it would be pretty dull and no one to share, good or bad times with. So people in general it's great that they're around.
Awesome. And do you have any crazy Thanksgiving memories you would like to tell us about?
The only thing that I would say is, about 3 years ago, we started a tradition in our household, and that was to have our last fire on Thanksgiving, like early afternoon. So this morning we did that, and I don't know what the temperature is, but it was pretty cold. And this year we were joined by our neighbors, which is where we are right now as I speak. Of course, Steve Geckler, he's our co-host on Al's Album Hour, and his wife Barb. And they came over, and I could just tell they were really enjoying the crisp Thanksgiving air.
Yeah. Thanks for being on the show. Hi, Mom. How are you doing?
Hi. I'm good.
Would you like to say something you're thankful for this year?
I'm thankful for everything.
Wow. That's very broad. And do you...
Careful when you say that.
Do you have any crazy Thanksgiving memories?
I have nothing.
Wow.
Check back later.
Hey, Grandma, what are you thankful for this year?
Oh, boy, am I ever thankful for you, David, because you always save me when I'm in trouble. When I fall down, you pick me up.
Grandma, do you have any funny Thanksgiving memories?
Not really, because we didn't have a funny Thanksgiving. We had a serious woodsy Thanksgiving. I lived in the woods when I was a kid, Yeah. And Thanksgiving, well, we had to kill a chicken or a rooster or something. Wow. And that was our Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to have you because you can reach everything that I can't in the house, and you can come over whenever you have free time, because you make free time for everybody.
Yeah.
And what I like is that you're a musician, and what I like better than that is that you're a vocalist.
Oh, thank you.
Because I want you to work on that. I want you to compete with Humperdinck. He is my favorite.
Yeah. Engelbert Humperdinck. Thank you, Grandma.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right.
David, we're pausing.
Time for dinner.
Was that a radio?
Well, no. It's a recorder.
Oh, you're trying to catch some stuff off the table here.
Oh, you recording now?
You got no secrets.
Seriously.
I like that. Catch some stuff off the table.
I like David, but I like Humperdinck, and I want David to try to be like him.
Yeah.
You should be more like him.
I'll tell you why. Humperdinck, when he sings, you can understand every word that he says.
You'll have an audience full of ladies for sure.
There you go. Yeah.
What I liked better, too, is that he talks about his girlfriends, or to them. He calls them my darling and all these cute names, which they enjoy, I'm sure. Well, I think that's better than they say, you old witch or something.
Well, yeah, I could see where a woman would appreciate the other.
So they were doing the turkey trot today
Yeah.
down by the shoreline. I took a quick drive down there, and there was. I just wanted to take a drive by the shoreline, and then it was all blocked off. So
Do you know how to do the turkey trot? I never
to
even.
run. It's a
I never
5K.
saw it
Yeah.
done.
Hello.
No, that's just the story, but we've
More
always
wine?
had big, big dinner.
more wine.
I'd like to try new things,
Yeah.
and I'm
What do you
always
say
looking for
backwards?
recipes, and
Meow
there were a
Rome.
lot of
More wine.
I'd rather have the tequila than the cider vinegar.
Well, I don't think we have any tequila.
No,
More,
no, I don't
want some?
really want it.
Patty, do you want some more bourbon?
Because then you wouldn't care about
Red rum.
I think it's time for more coffee and more dessert and more stories and funny things.
Hey,
Yeah.
where did you get the coffee? Or when?
We haven't gotten it yet, Grandma.
Oh, I thought it was like this morning about 6 o'clock.
This is my last slice of pie.
I don't believe it. Okay, it's 5 o'clock right now. I guarantee David will be eating again by 6 or 6:30.
Oh.
No.
Okay, 7.
To sing?
That would be wonderful. Let's sing the
Patty,
lion
sing.
song, Grandma.
I am not singing.
Do you hear those lions roar? Do you hear those lions roar? So roar, lions! Fight 'em, fight 'em, fight 'em! Do you hear those lions roar?
Excellent.
We used to do that when we were going to Nick's, right?
All right,
For breakfast.
I just want to say something
All right, say it
about
already.
that story.
Oh, about what story?
About that whole thing.
About the lions roaring?
Right down here at the house, on if you go down this way, you're on the right is my friend Helene. So they have these little hand booster signs that say hand high tiger football or something. So they would see those and they would go into the lion song. And I'm
It
like,
was our fight song against the tigers.
And you were confused, or why are they doing that?
right, when it's the tigers, why are you singing?
Well, just change the word and say tigers
No,
instead.
just do it the way you're doing it.
Well, I just have one thing to say. I went to school up in Massachusetts, Agawam, Massachusetts, and no, it was horrible. Our name for our team was the Brownies.
Wow.
Because I know how strange. Because our colors were orange and brown. It made sense if you knew the colors. But everybody else had the lions, the tigers, the jaguars. We're the Brownies.
That must have been belittling.
It was very. It was. I went through much trauma because of that in high school. You know.
Hey, Steve. Welcome to the show.
Hey, I'm very happy to be here. I'm very thankful for everything. I'm thankful you guys could join us for dinner. I'm thankful for Barb cooking all this wonderful food, and Ethel. Glad Ethel can be here. And
We'll cook the wine.
I just wanted to tell you a little story, a couple of stories. And
He's always got a little story.
Who's that? Steve? Good.
yes, I do. I have a little story.
Oh, let's have
And it's just a little Thanksgiving story, and it's this first one is kind of a funny story. My mom was taking the turkey from out of the oven and going to put it onto the counter, and something happened, and the turkey just falls completely on the floor, and of course it's all greasy and it slides across the floor, and then everybody is like, ah! So But it was like, it's okay. It's the 5-second rule. Take the turkey and just wipe it off. And considering we worked all day to cook this thing, we're not going to throw it away. So that's the one little story. It was kind of funny. And my mom even, she said, I'm sorry I dropped the turkey. So, and then the other story, I don't think this was Thanksgiving, but it was just one time I was at my sister's, and my sister was very outdoorsy and everything, and they raised chickens and they raised geese and everything. And my brother-in-law tells me, he said, come on, you have to go with us. And I didn't know we were going to go kill the goose for dinner, right? And so my job was to hold the rope around the goose's neck and pull it as they chopped the head off. And I'm looking at this poor animal, and it's looking right at me, and I was like, and then of course they go to cut the head off, and they don't cut it completely off, and so it's like hanging. And I said, you got to cut again. So they finally cut it off, and then I'm standing there holding a rope with a goose's head on it.
You wonder why you're vegan.
And the goose is making faces at you.
The goose is looking at me and saying, why? No, it just was like, I didn't know that was going to be my part of the job, but it was a crazy holiday.
Nightmares ever since.
That's right. So, but it's just interesting. It's one of those things I haven't thought about that in a long time. So, but
Well, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
You know, Mom, I'm glad that you're on the show today.
Thank you.
And you made a great meal. You and Barb made a great meal.
Thank
so,
you.
yeah.
What kind of
Yeah.
people did you say you liked?
Quiet people.
Oh, quiet ones? Oh. Well, I think you better go home.
Quiet ones.
We have to
Doesn't
leave
like to
now,
be
Patty.
asked too many questions.
I gotta come around. So, Barb, thank you for this wonderful meal as well.
You're very welcome. I enjoy cooking.
Yeah, and what are you thankful for this year?
Oh, there's so much. It's hard to create a list of it. But I'm really grateful that Steve finally retired so that we can travel the world and go and do everything that we want to do and have as much fun as we want to have. So I'm grateful that we have that. And,
Yes,
and
Have you got a brother you could send over to my house?
No.
And I'm very grateful that we were able to spend as much time in Connecticut this year because we do love it here and have so much fun with our neighbors.
Yep.
That's been really fun. And doing all the things that we do to enjoy our lives, that's really what it's about. We're grateful for our health. That's been a huge issue, and really a lot of good things this year have come about because of that. And I've been on a journey for 2 years, and I'm really happy where the journey's taken me as far as my health. And I'm now able to buy an extra large off the rack now instead of some other horribly large size. So those are some of the things that I'm grateful for. And of course, I'm grateful for my husband. My life would not be nearly as fun and exciting without him. And we are both equally grateful for our little dog, Paris. So that's good.
Paris, little Paris. Yes, when I was saying things I was thankful for, I forgot that I'm really glad that I retired this year. And yeah, it's pretty amazing. I had no stress, no have to worry about work and bosses and anything like that.
Where do you get hired?
Where do you get hired? Oh, you don't want a job. You don't want to work.
Oh, okay. I forget about it.
No, but I'm really
Doesn't
thankful that
sound too
I
good.
finally chose to retire this year.
Want to hear my Thanksgiving story?
Yes, we want to hear it.
When I was growing up in high school, we lived in Lake Havasu City, Arizona, the home of the London Bridge.
Oh.
And Lake Havasu would really attract a lot of people to the city. Yep. And my sister worked for a PR agency who managed different movie stars and things. And there was a Thanksgiving when I was in high school where my sister had said, "You'll never guess who's going to come to town and going to be part of Thanksgiving." And I was like, "I don't know." And she goes, "Yeah, we're gonna put together a Thanksgiving dinner for this person, and I want you and your sister to come down and meet him, and then you can have some Thanksgiving because I can't be there to cook." So So I was like, okay. So she wouldn't tell us, though, who it was. She wouldn't tell us who was coming to Thanksgiving dinner. So the Thanksgiving day arrived, and our time was to go down about 2 o'clock to this hotel where they had put this big Thanksgiving meal together in one of the rooms at the hotel. Yep. And my sister Mary and I are there, and we're probably like 15, maybe 16, kind of young. And anyway, my sister said, okay, you ready? Because here he comes. I think he's coming. And I said, okay. And the door opens up, and you'll never guess who it was that came to dinner.
Who was it?
It was Tom Jones.
Oh, wow.
The singer Tom Jones.
Oh, my God. Do you know what's so funny? I'm thinking, who could it possibly be? Do you know that Tom Jones was on my mental list? I don't know why.
What does he sing? I don't know him.
Oh, you would know Tom Jones.
Oh,
He's
no,
kind
I
of like
don't know Tom
Engelbert's
Jones.
competition.
Yeah. I like Engelbert. No one competes with him.
Crazy.
You don't like Tom Jones?
So
I don't know him.
He's a singer.
I like what's his name?
So Tom Jones and his entourage come into the room, and they don't know anything about Thanksgiving because they're British. I mean, they don't have Thanksgiving, but he was somewhat gracious. But he's not very tall. Yeah. And they had a little bit of turkey, and they were there. And my sister Mary and I were very nervous about, and he came up, and he was very nice. He shook our hand and said, how do you do? And so nice to meet you. And I can't remember what else he said. And then I saw him one time again. Yeah. I saw him one time again. I used to work after school at the London Bridge gift shop.
Oh, you said that.
And he came in one time, and he remembered me from the Thanksgiving.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and he loved Lake Havasu. He often came to Lake Havasu. But then again, he used to have a pretty fast crowd, so we were warned against ever being invited to any parties or anything. So, in fact, my sister said, if you ever go to any parties, I'll kill you. So that was the Thanksgiving story with Tom Jones.
Awesome. Thank you for being on the show.
You're very welcome.
Same day. Yep. He was right. I'm having another piece of pie.
He is. He's having another piece of pie. Maybe 2 or 3 pieces. I don't know.
Do you hear those lions roar? Do you hear those lions roar? So roar, lions. Fight 'em, fight 'em, fight 'em. Do you hear those lions roar? Woo!
Excellent.
Oh, I am ready for this piece of pie that I forgot. I forgot the pie I was bringing out, and I must have put it somewhere. Hey, Stefano, can you go get that pie for me?
Oh, yes.
Thanks. Thank you all for watching Coffee Time with Dave today. Hope you enjoyed it. It was a great time. Thursday night, doing the dinner and everything. And we had a lot of fun. And I hope you thought so too. Hey, Stefano.
Oh, hey.
Here's the pie.
Yep, here's the pie. Right in your face.
Good thing I recorded the final message.
Yep.
Don't forget, coffee is important.
Oh, boy.
This song's called Alice's Restaurant. It's about Alice and the restaurant. But Alice's Restaurant is not the name of the restaurant, that's just the name of the song. And that's why I call the song Alice's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. And You can get anything you want at Alice's Restaurant. Now it all started 2 Thanksgivings ago. It was on 2 years ago on Thanksgiving when my friend and I went up to visit Alice at the restaurant. But Alice doesn't live in the restaurant. She lives in the church nearby the restaurant in the Bell Tower with her husband Ray and Facha the dog. And living in the Bell Tower like that, they got a lot of room downstairs where the pews used to be. And having all that room, seeing as how they took out all the pews, they decided that they didn't have to take out their garbage for a long time. We got up there, we found all the garbage in there, and we decided it'd be a friendly gesture for us to take the garbage down to the city dump. So we took the 1/2 ton of garbage, put it in the back of a red VW microbus, took shovels and rakes and implements of destruction, and headed on toward the city dump. Well, we got there, and there's a big sign and a chain across the dump saying closed on Thanksgiving, and we had never heard of a dump closed on Thanksgiving before, and with tears in our eyes, we drove off into the sunset looking for another place to put the garbage. We didn't find one till we came to a side road, and off the side of the side road was another 15-foot cliff, and at the bottom of the cliff was another pile of garbage, and we decided that one big pile was better than 2 little piles, and rather than bring that one up, we decided to throw ours down. That's what we did. Drove back to the church, had a Thanksgiving dinner that couldn't be beat, went to sleep and didn't get up until the next morning when we got a phone call from Officer Obie. He said, "Kid, we found your name on an envelope at the bottom of a 1/2 ton of garbage, and just wanted to know if you had any information about it." And I said, "Yes, sir, Officer Obie, cannot tell a lie. I put that envelope under that garbage." After speaking to Obie for about 45 minutes on the telephone, we finally arrived at the truth of the matter and said that we had to go down and pick up the garbage, and also had to go down and speak to him at the police officer station. So we got in the red VW microbus with the shovels and rakes and implements of destruction, headed on toward the police officer station. Now, friends, there was only 1 or 2 things that Obie could have done at the police station, and the first was that he could have given us a medal for being so brave and honest on the telephone, which wasn't very likely, and we didn't expect it. Another thing was that he could have bawled us out and told us never to be seen driving garbage around the vicinity again, which is what we expected. But when we got to the police officer station, there was a third possibility that we hadn't even counted upon, and we was both immediately arrested, handcuffed. And I said, "Obie, I don't think I can pick up the garbage with these handcuffs on." He said, "Shut up, kid. Get in the back of the patrol car," and that's what we did. Sat in the back of the patrol car and drove to the, quote, scene of the crime, unquote. I want to tell you about the town of Stockbridge, Massachusetts, where this happened. Here they got 3 stop signs, 2 police officers and 1 police car. But when we got to the scene of the crime, there was 5 police officers and 3 police cars, being the biggest crime of the last 50 years, and everybody wanted to get in the newspaper story about it. And they was using up all kinds of cop equipment that they had hanging around the police officer station. They was taking plaster, tire track, footprints, dog-smelling prints, and they took 27 8x10 color glossy photographs with circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one explaining what each one was to be used as evidence against us. Took pictures of the approach, the getaway, the northwest corner, the southwest corner, and that's not to mention the aerial photography. After the ordeal, we went back to the jail. Obie said he was going to put us in the cell. Said, "Kid, I'm going to put you in the cell. I want your wallet and your belt." And I said, "Obie, I can understand you want my wallet so I don't have any money to spend in the cell, but what do you want my belt for?" And it said, "Kid, we don't want any hangings." I said, "Obie, did you think I was going to hang myself for littering?" Obie said he was making sure, and friends Obie was, because he took out the toilet seat so I couldn't hit myself over the head and drown. And he took out the toilet paper so I couldn't bend the bars, roll the toilet paper out the window, slide down the roll, and have an escape. Obie was making sure, and it was about 4 or 5 hours later that Alice Remember Alice? It's a song about Alice. Alice came by and with a few nasty words to Obie on the side, bailed us out of jail. We went back to the church, had another Thanksgiving dinner that couldn't be beat, and didn't get up until the next morning when we all had to go to court. We walked in, sat down. Obie came in with a 27 8x10 colored glossy pictures with the circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back each one. Sat down. Man came in, said, "All rise." We all stood up, and Obie stood up with the 27 8x10 colored glossy pictures, and the judge walked in, sat down with the seeing-eyed dog, and he sat down. We sat down. Obie looked at the seeing-eyed dog. Then the 27 8x10 colored glossy pictures with the circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one, and looked at the seeing-eyed dog. And then the 27 8x10 colored glossy pictures with the circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one, and began to cry, because Obie came to the realization that it was a typical case of American blind justice, and there wasn't nothing he could do about it. And the judge wasn't going to look at the 27 8x10 colored glossy pictures with the circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one, explaining what each one was to be used as evidence against us. And we was fined $50 and had to pick up the garbage in the snow, but that's not what I came to tell you about. Came to talk about the draft. We got a building down New York City. It's called Whitehall Street, where you walk in and you get injected, inspected, detected, infected, neglected, and selected. I went down to get my physical examination one day, and I walked in, I sat down, got good and drunk the night before, so I looked and felt my best when I went in that morning. Because I wanted to look like the all-American kid from New York City. Man, I wanted to feel like I wanted to be the all-American kid from New York, and I walked in, sat down, I was hung down, brung down, hung up, and all kinds of mean, nasty, ugly things. And I walked in, I sat down, they gave me a piece of paper, said, "Kid, see the psychiatrist, room 604. And I went up there, I said, "Shrink, I want to kill." I mean, I want to kill. I want to see blood and gore and guts and veins in my teeth. Eat dead, burnt bodies. I mean, kill. Kill, kill, kill! And I started jumping up and down, yelling, "Kill, kill!" And it started jumping up and down with me, and we was both jumping up and down, yelling, "Kill, kill!" And the sergeant came over, pinned the medal on me, set me down the hall, said, "You're our boy." And you feel too good about it. Proceeded on down the hall, getting more injections, inspections, detections, neglections, and all kinds of stuff that they was doing to me at the thing there. And I was there for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. I was there for a long time, going through all kinds of mean, nasty, ugly things, and I was just having a tough time there. And they was inspecting, injecting every single part of me, and they wasn't leaving no part untouched. Proceeded through, and when it finally came to see the very last man, I walked in, sat down after a whole big thing there, and I walked up and said, "What do you want?" He said, "Kid, we only got one question. Have you ever been arrested?" And I proceeded to tell him the story of Alice's Restaurant, Massacre, with full orchestration and 5-part harmony and stuff like that, and then all the phenomena. Stopped me right there and said, "Kid, did you ever go to court?" I proceeded to tell him the story of the 27 8x10 colored glossy pictures with the circles and arrows and a paragraph on the back of each one, and stopped me right there and said, "Kid, I want you to go over and sit down on that bench that says Group W. Now, kid." And I walked over to the bench there, and there's Group W is where they put you if you may not be moral enough to join the army after committing your special crime. And There was all kinds of mean, nasty, ugly-looking people on the bench there. Mother rapers, father stabbers, father rapers sitting right there on the bench next to me, and one, they was mean and nasty and ugly and horrible and crime-fighting guys are sitting there on the bench. And the meanest, ugliest, nastiest one, the meanest father raper of them all, was coming over to me, and he was mean and ugly and nasty and horrible and all kinds of things. And he sat down next to me and said, "Kid, what'd you get?" I said, "I didn't get nothing. I had to pay $50 and pick up the garbage." I said, "What were you arrested for, kid?" And I said, "Littering." And they all moved away from me on the bench there, and the hairy eyeball and all kinds of mean, nasty things, till I said, "And creating a nuisance," and they all came back, shook my hand, and we had a great time on the bench talking about crime, mother stabbing, father raping, all kinds of groovy things that we was talking about on the bench. And everything was fine. We were smoking cigarettes and all kinds of things until the sergeant came over, had some paper in his hand, held it up and said, "Kids, this piece of paper's got 47 words, 37 sentences, 58 words. We want to know details of the crime, time, the crime, and that kind of thing. You got to say turn about the crime, want to know the arresting officer's name, and that kind of thing. You got to say in a talk for 45 minutes, and nobody understood a word that he said, but we had fun filling out the forms and playing with the pencils on the bench there. And I filled out the massacre with the 4-part harmony and wrote it down there just like it was, and everything was fine, and I put down a pencil and I turned over the piece of paper, and there on the other side, in the middle of the other side, away from everything else on the other side, in parentheses, capital letters, quotated, read the following words: "Kid, you rehabilitated yourself." I went over to the sergeant and said, "Sergeant, you've got a lot of damn gall to ask me if I've rehabilitated myself. I'm sitting here on the bench. I'm sitting here on the Group W bench because you want to know if I'm moral enough to join the army, burn women, kids' houses, and villages after being a litter bug." He looked at me and said, "Kid, we don't like your kind. And we're going to send your fingerprints off to Washington, and friends, somewhere in Washington, enshrined in some little folder, is a study in black and white of my fingerprints. And the only reason I'm singing you the song now is because you may know somebody in a similar situation. Or you may be in a similar situation, and if you're in a situation like that, there's only one thing you can do, is walk into the shrink wherever you are. Just walk in, say, 'Shrink, you can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant,' and walk out. You know, if just one person does it, they may think he's really sick and they won't take him. And if two people do it in harmony, they think they're both faggots and they won't take either of them. And if 3 people do it, can you imagine 3 people walking in, singing a bar, Alice's restaurant, and walking out? They may think it's an organization. And can you imagine 50 people a day? I said 50 people a day walking in, singing a bar, Alice's restaurant, and walking out. And friends, they may think it's a movement. And that's what it is. The Alice's Restaurant Anti-Massacre movement. And all you gotta do to join is to sing it the next time it comes around on the guitar. With feeling. So we'll wait till it comes around on the guitar here. sing it when you're done. Here it comes. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. Walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. And you can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. That was horrible. If you want to end war and stuff, you gotta sing loud. You could put a lot. I've been singing the song now for 25 minutes. I could sing it for another 25 minutes. I'm not proud or tired. So we'll wait till it comes around again, and this time with 4-part harmony and feeling. We're just waiting for it to come around is what we're doing. All right now. You can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. Accepting Alice, you can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. So walk right in, it's around the back, just a half a mile from the railroad track. And you can get anything you want at Alice's restaurant. Da 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 da. At Alice's